Thanks for joining Veiled Mystic today as we examine the Yeti. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this presentation. The Abominable Snowman, exploring legends of the elusive Yeti. For centuries, mysterious sightings of a towering ape-like beast covered in shaggy white fur have emerged from the highest snow-peaked mountains of Central Asia. Locals dubbed these elusive creatures Yeti, meaning rock bear. Tales spread about the abominable snowman lurking in the frigid, isolated wilderness waiting to surprise unwary climbers and hikers who encroach into their realms. Despite only fleeting encounters leaving scant traces, the Yeti continues sparking global intrigue as one of the world's most famous cryptids, an unconfirmed animal still possibly prowling isolated wilds fertile for fantastic myths yet notoriously harsh towards human habitation. Origins of the Yeti legend. Stories about huge hairy hominids occupy an enduring niche in the folklore traditions of Nepal, Tibet and surrounding regions. The Sherpa people dubbed these reputed beasts Mito Kangmi, signifying man-bear snow creature. Neighboring ethnic groups shared similar terminology referencing upright walking animals far larger and hairier than any ordinary known species, spotted fleetingly amidst the snowy peaks yet leaving behind enormous human-like footprints across barely accessible territory at high altitude that sees few human travelers. While dismissing the literal reality of such fabulous-seeming monsters, anthropologists conjecture ancient sightings of bears combined with superstitious imagination and later embellishment created a cultural legend about the Yeti which expanded as Western interest brought more visibility. However, a core of plausible mystery and genuinely inexplicable evidence still intrigues those willing to look past dismissive assumptions. Local beliefs run much deeper than casually invented tales to entertain thrill-seeking tourists. Something unknown seems to lurk out there even if the full truth stretches beyond common conceptions. Is the Yeti based on a real unknown species? Those believing Yeti accounts refer to actual creatures. Separate existing wildlife point towards certain plausible zoological candidates explaining the basis of this legend. Gigantopithecus, extinct great apes known as Gigantopithecus co-inhabited regions where Yeti samples were found over 10 feet tall if bipedal. Being Pleistocene-era relics, could unknown populations linger hiding remote, isolated places relatively untouched by modernity? Their shaggy fursuits cold environments. Himalayan bears, rare subspecies of brown bear, reside the highest altitudes across Tibet, Nepal, China and surrounding nations. Might witness misidentification. Blown out proportion birth monster myths. Bears can walk upright briefly and appear quite formidable. But they don't match larger sizes attributed Yetis by witnesses who should recognize local bears. Paranthropus, unlike bears, another branch of Pliocene-era primates called Paranthropus closely resembled upright walking gorillas, as Bigfoot-like bipeds recorded through fossils across parts of Asia. If they somehow endured while avoiding bones documentation, Paranthropus species best fits Yeti descriptions. In truth, no zoological category yet discovered perfectly aligns all facets of native testimony, and biological detritus suggesting something unidentified lurks around the sparse sub-zero Himalayan terrain, evading clarity between glimpses and contested artifacts remains shrouded mystery. Documented sightings and encounters. While easy to dismiss Yeti sightings as superstitious exaggerations, the consistency, emotional intensity and vivid descriptions from numerous surprise eyewitnesses counters casual dismissals. Sherpa guides, experienced climbers, veterinarians and other witnesses familiar identifying local wildlife insist seeing something inexplicable yet undeniably real haunting barren mountain slopes. Some notable encounters include: British explorer team spots biped beast during a 1951 Everest expedition. Experienced alpinists photographed large mysterious tracks unlike known animals, then separately witnessed a giant hairy bipedal creature watching their camp. It fled pursuit, but they held multiple sightings. Russian hikers encounter enormous biped in Siberia's frigid high peaks separating Russia from Mongolia. Two hikers confronted a gigantic ape-man covered reddish-black fur walking upright before their tents soon after photographing huge human-like tracks. It retreated after their startled shouts, but left 13-inch footprints embedded hard ground as evidence. Estimated height neared 10 feet tall. Nepalese team stalks bipedal beasts, seeking Yetis after a spate of new sightings. A 1973 Nepalese forestry team discovered odd pyramidal nests accompanied giant 18-inch tracks. They soon observed dark hairy bipeds 8 feet tall walking bipedally high mountain valley that fled pursued but which man could not chase fast enough across rough terrain, seemingly barely affecting their speed and agility. Such accounts counter arguments about hoaxes or confusion. Normal wildlife given multiple competent witness experience differentiating bears and native apes. Chronic analysis shows neither fits their detailed descriptions, something shockingly enormous and non-human. Theories on Yeti origins and migratory patterns. If one accepts Yetis manifest as an authentic biological population defying easy categories, Theories abound concerning origins and habitation patterns, enabling continual escape mainstream discovery. After all, surely settlers would encroach such beasts unless exhibitive intelligence kept withdrawing towards more secretive and harsher habitats. Defying extinction in isolated refuges, if Gigantopithecus or another megafauna species closely resembling upright walking apes somehow evaded assumed extinction during prior ice age glaciations, then the high snow peaks of the Himalayas could have provided isolated environmental refuges for small relic groups to endure while migrating away less hospitable forests and jungles where ancestral populations mainly dwelled. There, defended by inhospitable frozen altitudes, the Yeti might yet linger, dodging contact, advancing lowland-based societies. Interdimensional portals to the high peaks, legends also claim Yetis, and their regional wild men equivalents, emerge sporadically within remote mountains areas through interdimensional gateways linking their true habitat, existing parallel reality or astral planes beyond common perception. Their minimal remaining tribes retreated ages ago avoid encroaching people only occasionally glimpsed partway back because doorways temporarily open. Intriguingly, flyovers and satellite maps reveal few areas seem able to hide such enormous beasts if strictly flesh and blood natives. Clues suggest a partly non-physical nature defying prolonged tangible observation. Psychics claim Yeti sometimes manifest semi-etherically despite leaving seemingly physical traces, suggesting transdimensional origins. Extraterrestrial transplants. Other outlier theories speculate Yetis descend from extraterrestrial hominid colonies deposited during earlier epochs onto the remote Central Asian peaks by visiting alien-seeding planetary creatures. That the foreign species established enduring niche, though isolationism and extreme climate-ensured populations remained small and remote from lowland fauna and developing human civilizations alike. Their reputed psychic powers and advanced intelligence, conveyed through consistent habituation towards avoiding close capture, argues high unearthly evolution, perhaps genetically modified for survival extremophile environments, making Sherpa Mountains suitable refuges near unreachable society. Of course, without definitive proof, no single explanation offers decisive answers. Skeptics simply reiterate that no hard evidence proves Yetis exist outside folkloric fancy woven by superstitious imaginations faced with infrequent and inconclusive sightings, likely misidentified ordinary wildlife. But conclusive foe. Physical traits and attributes reportedly observed. Beyond legends or footprints, numerous direct observations consistently describe specific anatomical and behavioral traits about Yeti creatures not fitting common categories. These recurring eyewitness details bolstered taken together include: covered in long white, red or dark brown fur leaving public hairs on trees and boulders rubbed. Analysis shows unknown primate origins. Walking strongly bipedal without knee-bend knees, shortening stride or using hands balance. Displaying upright muscular physiology. Head sits forward upon shoulders rather than tilting upwards like bear postures. More primate than ursine skulls and necks noticeable. Long arms nearly dragging the ground. Their high shoulder connections preclude attribution bears. Aggressively inhospitable territory avoids prolonged tracking or capture despite infrastructure-free landscape seeming unfit supporting beasts this size season after season through harsh elements. High peaks harbor cave systems and secluded valleys enabling remote habitation. Occasional tree formations and ground structures resembling crude nests or branch-broken trails suggest large creatures too bulky and heavy match local gorals sheep regularly. Position high slopes implies makers possess great strength and adaptation. Rarefied atmosphere. Footprints range from nearly 2 feet long up 18 inches. Mid-range 14 inches average. Width can spread past 6 inches across toe box showing 5 digits. Significantly bigger than human tracks. Sheriff reported rock clanging wood knocks following certain sightings that cease pursuit. Indicates intelligence avoiding capture rather than random wildlife fear reactions. Strong guttural vocalizations or whistling emanates distant peaks responded witnessed episodes. Too robust for natural avalanche echoes. Yeti seen push thick bushes weighing hundreds pounds effortlessly while striding unafraid humans proximity before nonchalantly walking away ignoring confrontation or distraction attempts use trap normal animals. Showed no aggression despite intrusion what would become ferociously guarded territory otherwise. The inability positively tie these remarkably consistent details any known species keeps open the possibility some large intelligent primate or ursine strangely at home in hospitable elevations remains undiscovered science. And their reputed inhuman strength? Bizarre nests. Meandering climbing trails high above valleys only well-acclimated agile beast could construct suggests mystery continuation. Scientific investigation and evidence analysis. While lacking an intact specimen body, empirical analysis still seeks evaluating indirect biological traces possibly left by elusive Yetis tromping remote landscapes. Hair and fiber samples. Microscopic inspections of recovered unusual hair or fiber clumps found high altitudes often shows medulla structures inconsistent bear but potentially primate origins. However, controverting analysis muddles consensus about true genome sources. Establishing an authentic Yeti follicular standard remains challenging. Piecemeal samples without larger genetic markers. DNA testing. Scientists sequenced alleged Yeti hair shafts, found isolated cave systems. Comparison. Genetic libraries points towards anomalous ursine bear lineage rather than great ape as expected. Possibly rare new bear species manifest convergent evolution growth patterns resembling primitive hominids including vertical walking gaits. If correct, then population isolation promoted deceptive appearance. Track casts. Expert evaluations concerning depth, stride patterns and anatomically reflective shapes suggest some bipedal tracks found remote slopes inconsistent capabilities any indigenous wildlife. Beyond hoaxes, dermal ridge detail visible across impressing foot or hand prints indicates flexible non-human structures, unlike rigid bear paws. Analysis continues striving verifying origins. Fecal matter. Purported Yeti droppings gathered wilderness areas. Proximal sighting locations yielded intestinal contents rich parasitic worm loads expected occupying cold climate forest animals dependent eating raw meats. Finds consistency. Creature comforts and hospitable heights. What precisely lurks there remains obscured without capturing whole beasts. Tree structures. Forest broken tree formations often surround sites yielding sightings/tracks. Arboreal construction damage reflected in snaps and twisting appeared seeking bark/sap. Height. Widely spaced positioning, and necessary strength exceeds indigenous porcupines or tree-climbing bears. Potentially huge primate activity evident. Further evidence suffers issues around provenance doubts without substantiating context from direct zoological confirmation required converting vocal skeptics. Specimens would establish species irrefutably. Such remains disturbingly absent beyond scattered samples resisting DNA certitude. For some professionals, no mammals could retain low breeding populations necessary to perpetuate generations amid such desolate environs, lacking thermal cover or regular nourishment. 2 inhospitable supporting animals described Yeti sizes. Survival stretched belief while avoiding scientific documentation. How beasts so large continually evade cameras and formal study regardless alleged intelligence remains debated. Many assert Occam's razor says Yeti most likely manifests misidentified bear traces combined eager misinterpretation. But believers counter that simplest explanation, changed repeatedly confronting contrary evidence challenging previous emphatic declarations made in absence complete data now emerging. Formidable wildlife and baffling tracks still materialize remote isolation beyond where known fauna reside. This enduring enigma defies pat explanations. Something inexplicable lurks out there. Is the Yeti a flesh and blood creature or supernatural entity? Cryptozoologists debate whether Yetis represent undiscovered hominid species adapted living harsh frigid conditions or metaphysical entities partially intersecting tangible existence while eluding permanent bodily capture. Opinions vary. Paranormal portals. Certain paranormal theories suggest Yetis variously manifest from 1. Interdimensional portals linking parallel worlds. 2. Astral planes intersecting material reality. 3. Demonic enormously powerful entities coalescing energy bodies. This potentially explains inability provide remains. Physical forms resembles ideal bear/ape composite denoting spiritual archetype. Bigfoot envisions manifesting high strangeness zones shaped expectations circular seeking savage missing links. If true Yetis feature partially psychic presence tampering full specimen retrieval. Evolutionary primate relics. Contrarily, evolutionary perspectives argue surviving pockets Gigantopithecus communities or comparable Pleistocene megafauna isolated regions evading human predation until modern decades where encroaching climbers/skiers glimpse them occasionally but disturbance causes retreat towards safer uninhabited reaches. Their intelligence and group coordination enables sustained capacities avoiding hunters/capture. Rare interactions always happen remote altitudes through brief accidental mutual surprise soon followed by rapid withdrawal ending engagement before understanding occurs. Over generations they adapted myths about these wild men living among peaks. Interdimensional timeslips. Other theories suggest ephemeral timeslips mesh parallel worlds across dimensional membranes so visitors/residents elbow overlaps, sporadically glimpse alternate versions environment including ice age variations thought extinct like primeval megafauna resembling Yeti outline. Waves. Probabilistic quantum flux allow temporary peaks long past zoological prehistory still existing adjacent orthogonal planes reality sealed outside except flickering temporary glimpses. Some claim they felt odd atmospheric distortions or reality symptoms around sightings as stability momentarily wavered. Maybe we witness ancient tribes that cannot fully cross to stay. An enduring mystery. Despite arguments suggesting folkloric fancy combined crypto-conjecturing created the long-standing Yeti legends, ultimately core evidence continues showing experiences consistently report intelligent tailless, upright walking beasts rather than ordinary wildlife. Behind persistent global notoriety, these abominable snowmen held last 2 centuries. Albeit rarely seen clearly, they display anatomical proportions unlike climatologically accessible animals, and they thrive altitudes nearly unlivable creatures. Recognizable zoology. Something quite large yet evasive haunts those barren peaks. Shrouded myth. Sightings trail off during increasingly technical decades where prior seemingly abundant observations recorded should proliferate clearer capture given expanding visitations. But ironically modern sophistications only harvested ambiguity what before drew consistent narrative among multitude witnesses over generations when scientific methods lacked debunking power upon limited data sets. Nevertheless, something enormous eludes while watching inscrutable purpose. These perplexingly formidable beings strike evolutionarily discordant, walking high valleys and tearing tree limbs, inexplicable heights outreach. Their nests and constructions shouldn't emerge regions scarcely able support what builds them. Unless one considers how interdimensionality solves problems accommodating temporal anomalies and psychic elements tell an expanded account we must transcend materialism fully decipher. But such interpretations still ridiculed. Thereby questions persist. The Himalayan Yeti's zoological genesis, despite hoping genes sequencing might clinch arguments conclusively. So far efforts sequence DNA from samples only tangled origins more. While mainstream science rejects such a giant primate could inhabit ecosystems bordering unlivable conditions, truth often hides away from orthodox assumptions, blinding vision. What thrives up there may not exist. Our familiar world where limited projections expect known biology prevail. Regardless whether paranormal, metaphysical, or mundane physical causes ultimately underpin this fascinating global legend, the abominable snowman's mystery endures defiantly, towering over smug dismissals. Perhaps awaiting next glimpse, awesome visage rising behind veils, challenging certainty, nature's frontiers already charted and conquered. Consider instead whether primal mystery still guarding sacred peaks watches unseen just beyond closest glance. And we who trespass past simply return. Myths begun ignorance when wisdom once knew better, bounds overstepping stations. Always wonders await renounced arrogance. Our species only rediscovers what ancestors already understood before forsaking reverence, fleeting achievement. Patiently we too may witness revelation, standing again humbled, veil holy guardians. Mark only footprints, leave only awe towards enduring creation. Something profound lingers up high altitudes that our hurried transient visits cannot yet fully behold or comprehend. But open minds may earn a glimpse someday to carry back down for others lacking context, accept outright. However, beyond passing footfalls, sojourns below under heaven's trod long before present flash, elder spirits remain waiting another reckoning when respect returns, asking not taking undeserved. Their 7 nufty waits, wild wisdom long ignored but never fully forgotten while wonders sleep. Question becomes whether wake fit meeting destined reunite.